My name is Saint Riot, and allow me to make something clear. There will be no big sword slander around here. Welcome to Saint Riot on the Big Net, and I want you to look at the way I duck under this dumb boss's attacks with the power of heavy sword attacks. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and I love it. I've seen people complain about having to use poke attacks in order to beat these bosses, you know, if you're trying to use a colossal sword, and you just could not be more wrong. Look at that. Did your favorite streamer tell you to screech at that? Did your favorite streamer condition you to yell whenever you saw waterfowl? Did you ever think in your entire life to just block it? Did you ever think to just block waterfowl with a colossal sword? Oh, Saint Riot. She gained her health back, though. Health bars aren't real. It's like you didn't even play Sekiro. Health bars don't exist. They're not real. Just death blow, death blow, death blow. Every one of you would screech and wail like a banshee that she was like a Sekiro boss, and none of you were just like, oh, so her health bar's not real, it's just about death blows. Yeah, it's just about death blows. Anyway, for the fight, I was using the Great Shield Talisman, and I'll stop being mean to you now, okay? I'm just joking. Dragon Crest will help too, but yeah, this weapon has 55, I think, guard boost, which is not a lot. It absorbs like 75% of physical damage. And with that Great Shield Talisman, I can block that first volley of Waterfowl Dance. And if you rewind the video if you want to see the build, it's level 90, it's a strength build, and the weapons are plus 17. And you're going to get to see all kinds of different weapons today. I made a video the other day and I was like, yeah, I'm not really feeling like doing a lot of hyper-involved stuff. I've just kind of been feeling my roots lately. And if you go back in time and you watch the very first YouTube videos I ever did, you know, most of them were sword and board back in Dark Souls 3, doing Dark Souls 3 invasions with straight sword and shield. And then the very next build, after I felt like I had a hang of invasions and what to expect and how to play them, the very next build, I wasn't good by any means, but I felt like I was, you know, I could hold my own. The very next build I wanted to try was a colossal sword build that relied on hyper armor. And the reason for that was because I used to do fight clubs with this guy who did testing for hyper armor back in the Dark Souls 3 days. There was a few guys, Morning Lord, and the guy that I was in a fight club with, his name was Tall Bearded One, or Giant Bearded One, depending on where you talked to him at. But me and him and another friend of mine, Ghost Hardware, and another guy whose name was Alfred, he's also called Valfreeze. We would just get together. I don't think any of us were making like content at the time. I might have made a few YouTube videos, but the point is we were just some nerds hanging out doing fight clubs in Smoldering Lake. And at the time, everyone was really mad about hyper armor and poise because it didn't do what it used to do back in Dark Souls 3. I'm sorry, back in Dark Souls 2. It was different. Passive poise was just gone, and everything was hyper armor. And so everyone thought that it was broke, but it wasn't broke. And Tall Bearded One would do these fight clubs using his hyper armor poise build, Havel armor, and a great club. And he would just kick my ass, you know? And he kind of like taught me how hyper armor worked, and then I wanted to try it because I like really big swords. Also, just as this is just a personal aside, what you're seeing in this invasion right here, look at me, I'm being nice. Be nice to me. Be nice to me. That's what you get for having friends who aren't nice to me. Anyway, wanted to try a build that used big swords. I love big swords. I think they're awesome. And so that was the second build I ever made in Dark Souls 3. And when Dark Souls Remastered came out, I made a big sword guy. And when Demon Souls Remake came out, I made a big sword guy. My favorite weapon in Bloodborne is a big sword. Some of y'all might remember that Demon Souls video. What was his name? Meat Cleat Meaver. He swings neat meat cleaver. Something like that, right? But, yeah. I just like big weapons. They're funny, you know? And, so I haven't been in a mood to do much other than just sort of like go back to my roots and do some funny weapons, you know, that are big. They're big and funny. And, you know, sword and shield. Somebody left a comment on that sword video I made, and they were like, oh, is Saint playing with a straight sword because he's a tryhard or because he's boring? Tryhards in this game don't use single straight sword, and your mom doesn't think I'm boring, and your dad doesn't think it's boring to watch. Verticality. He came to my Twitch stream and he donated 100 gift subs, and I said, don't you need this money for your child's college education? And your dad said, it's better spent here. And I thought that was a burn, but then he invited me over to chow down on your mom's sloppy joes, and so I did. And he had such a good time just watching me chow down on your mom's sloppy joes. I was just eating them up. How's that for boring? That's what I thought. Anyway, I like sword and shield, but I also like big axes and big swords and you know, whatever else you got, I'll use it. This is one that I don't see very often. I've had this axe. This axe is a colossal weapon, so it has the colossal weapon moveset, which means you can you know, put colossal ashes of war on it. And for a long time, I had like gravitas on it as just like a pull people off of ledges type of thing. And I thought, man, this axe is so cool, it deserves better than that. And then I was like, I wonder if you could put Flaming Strike on it, because I've seen people put Flaming Strike on axes before, and I couldn't put Flaming Strike on it. And I was like, okay, well, that's weird. And then I remembered, oh, Waves of Darkness rules. And so I put Waves of Darkness on it. Now, you might be asking yourself, Saint, do the Waves of Darkness apply the Scarlet Rot on the axe? And the answer to that question, my friend, is I don't know. I did a bunch of invasions, and I don't know, like 100. Of the 100 invasions I did, I think only once did I ever proc Scarlet Rot on somebody. I didn't use this axe for all 100 invasions, but I used it quite a bit. I only procced Scarlet Rot once, so it does not seem to be very good. And I don't think Arcane affects how easy you apply Scarlet Rot, so I don't think there's anything you could do to make this axe better at applying Scarlet Rot. We've also got the Spiked Cestus on the build. That's a throwback to the old Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 Colossal Swords, they were called Ultra Great Swords. They sucked at initiating. They didn't have the crouch poke that Colossal Swords have in Elden Ring, and as a result they didn't have like a good opening move, if that makes sense. So I kept a Cestus in my offhand, and I would punch people. And when you punch somebody, if they try and dodge the punch, you throw out the Colossal Sword, and it's like a roll catch. If they get punched and then they panic roll, you throw out the Colossal Sword, and that's a roll catch. It's far less necessary here, but as you just saw, swapping over to the Cestus to finish somebody off, you know, that rules. And I don't feel like that breaks the big boy convention that I have going on with this build. I want this build to be a big boy at all times. But I feel like a big boy will just punch you in the mouth, you know? But that's just me, personally. Look at that spacing. Did you see that spacing? Oh, you didn't? Here, I'll rewind it. Look at that spacing. Are you kidding me? Absolute understanding of latency and spacing. What a god I am against this guy doing a cosplay build. Oh, Saint, don't toot your own horn. Alright, I'll tell you what. I'll let your mom toot my horn and then make me a delicious plate of sloppy joes. You're going to want to toot my horn after you see this right here. You're going to get down on your knees. Toot. Toot. Just tooting that horn. Oh, he wants me to think he's alone. Of course he's not alone. They're never alone. And this was their plan. To get me on both sides and just throw gravity balls at me. Look at the damage on those gravity balls. Does that seem normal to you? This is another thing that goes on this build. This is my wondrous physic, and it is poise for 10 seconds and immunity to elemental damage for 10 seconds. And guess how long it takes to kill a wizard? If you said 10 seconds, that would be the correct answer. Because players like this are not good. And that's what they get for thinking they're clever. That's why your dad's not letting you go to college. He walked in and saw you doing that. And he said, I can't in good conscience send this child to get a higher education. It would be wasted on him. And then he turned around and he looked at your mama and he said, now Becky, fire up them sloppy joes. There's probably Europeans and Australians and people who are like watching this video and they're loving what they just saw. They're loving that. I've never used this before. I just thought I would do something cool for, you know, y'all here on YouTube. And that was pretty cool, wasn't it? Oh, what's that? You want to parry me? Can you parry this? Is this parryable? I'm asking. I seriously have no idea. But I digress. What I was saying was, Europeans, Australians, whatever, watching this, they're like, what in the hell is a sloppy joe? It's an American can of goop that you add to hamburger meat. Ground up hamburger meat that you fry and then drain the grease off of, and then the sloppy joe. And that's what it is. You just add the sloppy joe mix. It's pretty good. It's garbage, but it's pretty good. Speaking of things that no one will ever tell you to try, check this out. This is a top tier. I used to say white trash, but it occurs to me that like poor black people and poor Mexican people probably also do this. So if I ever say poor white trash, just know I mean poor working class. This is a poor white trash food hack. You get the little cans of cheese dip from the grocery store. That like bright neon plastic cheese dip. It's like in the potato chip aisle. And you have to refrigerate it after you open it. You know, you got to peel back the little lid on the tin can. And usually you get it and you get like some corn chips and you like scoop a little bit of cheese out with the corn chip. And that's a good snack. You know what else is a good snack? That wondrous physic, because it turns on Dark Souls 1 backstabs. Anyway, most people tell you, you know, look at that hyper armor. Not one of those bullets had enough to stop me. People will tell you the cheese dip, corn chips, the scoops, it's a no-brainer, right? Check this out. Barbecue potato chips in the cheese dip. I had like 7 or 8 of those earlier. Changed my life. Like just today, I tried it and I was like, this is so good. Why did no one do this? Why did no one tell me about this? Little oil pot. Are you sick and tired of this stupid Ash of War? Are you guys as mad at this Ash of War as I am? The Morgott sword Ash of War? I hate it. Fortunately, for whatever reason, Eruption of all things. Who knew? Not me. I just was like, let's try it, and it worked, and I'll be damned. I will be damned that that worked. But it did. And from now on, anytime I see Morgott sword coming at me, Eruption. I hate that stupid Ash of War. It was already good, and then they buffed curved greatswords, and now like that weapon itself is just better in every way, and it's just, I hate it. I'm sick of seeing it. Get it out of here. I don't want to look at it no more. If you're watching this video and you're digging it, and you're digging the music in the video, you're like, what is this music from? This music is from Final Fantasy 16, which is the first good one they've made. That's not true. I love Final Fantasy, but 16 is it's special. It's special. It's up there, baby. I could not be happier. If they never make another Final Fantasy game that I like again, they can never take away Final Fantasy 16 from me. It is free from the clutches of Nomura and Nojima. You Elden Ring fans are like, I don't know who those people are. Just know that they're the devil. Just know that they're the Antichrist. We're using the greatsword. You don't see this greatsword a lot. I don't, anyway. Maybe you do. Maybe you see it all the time. I never see it. This greatsword right here is the Iron Greatsword. And this is the greatsword that you get off of the Leonine Misbegotten. The Misbegotten guys that look like they've got, like, you know, big cat faces with red hair. The one in the Haley tree. There's two in the Haley tree. On your way to, like, the second grace. Okay, technically, from the second grace to the third grace, there's two of them. Anyway, it's a cool greatsword, and it's really good on strength builds, and so that's a no-brainer. When I say it's cool, I mean it looks cool. I think it looks dope. This is like my favorite type of sword, is this right here. I wish there was a straight sword that had that same sort of aesthetic. I know it's hard to, you know, when everything's red, but it's red with blood. It's red with the blood of a sinner. That might have been a little overdramatic, but I don't care. That's how I felt in the moment, so I just said it. And you can't stop me because I'm sitting here in a room talking to myself. And so, yeah, that's what you get. You get to hear me say stuff like that. Look at these fun guys. They're like, hey, come to this. This is where we are. I'm going to do seppuku on my fat rolling self. And I said, no, you're not. I don't think you're going to do that at all. I think you're going to get a running R2 that has hyper armor, and I think you're going to get beat to death before your fat rolling ass can do anything. That's what I think you're going to do. And this wizard said, pew, 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 oh, go away from me, oh, pew. And then they ran with their stupid hat. Look at that dumbass hat. Oh, but it gives me intelligence. I'm the wizard of the bush, and I'm running for my freedom. I'm the wizard of the grass, running far away. I hate this guy. Get him out of here. Get this dude out of here. I'm sick of looking at him. We're using the gargoyle halberd. I don't see a lot of people use this. It's a halberd. Automatically, it's good. There's better halberds, but, I mean, it's a halberd. I used, this is actually cold infused, and it's still really good for strength builds while cold infused. You, an idiot who wears a big fucking banana hat, you're like, I thought that made it intelligence scaling. It does give it intelligence scaling, but it keeps a lot of its strength scaling. Most of it, actually. Of course it's going to be better fire infused or heavy infused, but it's good enough cold infused. I think it goes from A strength scaling to B. And like, so it's still got really good strength scaling, and now it does magic damage, and now it has frostbite on it. Win-win. That's not bad, you know? Alright, last invasion, something special. I saved this for y'all. I have to remind myself of this every couple of weeks. I hate jump attack spam. I hate it. Jump attacks should have like 4 times the amount of recovery they have right now. Or alternatively, they should be so much slower that you could be able to punish them on reaction. Shoryuken. You know what I'm saying? I hate it. I hate jump attack spam. Well, here's a fun thing you can do that works against jump attack spam, apparently. Foot down. Laundry, massage, and lottery tickets. That's a callback to another video I made. Go watch it, and I'll see you next time. Till then, later, y'all.